What is going on, Rivian fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you a good overview of the data points and some latest updates with Rivian, and potentially given the circumstances right now, where things might be going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So it is very much green, so a nice change of events from today. It did have a low of 1431, so a little bit more of a tentative sell-off first thing in the morning, but starting to gain a lot of good momentum, especially with the broader market. And I just want to put it in perspective, some of the data points. So as of right now, number of retail investors are getting in today, and it is above zero ever since it looks like March the 30th. So ever since then, it's gaining more retail presence. So of course, that's a very positive sign. Stochastic, there is a little bit more of a bearish sentiment right now, but it did consolidate and push down a little bit because this stage right here was very much overbought. Potentially, of course, but given the news that did come out, I think it's fairly justified. So as you can see right here, they did announce on the 3rd, 9,395 vehicles were actually produced in Q1, and just shy of around 8,000 was physically delivered. So in general, those are fairly good numbers. And they did reiterate about that 50,000 annual production guidance. So of course, that is something that everyone wants to know, because there's a lot of supply chain issue things starting to pop up with other companies, aka Lucid. So the fact that Rivian did reiterate that is a fairly good sign. Over and above that, though, you can kind of tell based on the overall sentiment what as of late at least is fairly positive. Clearly, like I said, because of this news, broader market, and as well if you kind of look at this, so the latest round of 13Fs, because typically a lot of true big institutions are going to be disclosing their positions, for instance in Rivian, by I think it is May, give or take, so the first week of May, last week of April potentially, but this is the ETF season. So of course you can kind of see what is to come potentially. So for instance, iShares, which of course Blackrock owns iShares, or at least it's one of the many things that they do have under its belt potentially. But as you can see right here, so iShares self-driving EV and tech ETF did increase their position in Rivian in the Q4 of 2022, 283%. So of course that's fairly good. They also made a brand new position within their momentum factor ETF of 473,000 shares. So of course that's a very, very good thing. And even outside of that, though, it is very much clear that both Vanguard and Blackrock both increased their position in Rivian. So of course that's a fairly positive thing. And when it comes down to it, as you can tell based on the options today, because my last couple of videos, I really brought up about options, how there was a lot more downside anticipated based on the level of puts. But as of today, it does seem like there is a little bit more calls being purchased. So $778,000 worth of calls today versus puts is 524. So a little bit more of a kind of dynamic change right now. So of course, upside is most likely anticipated. And like I mentioned, especially with them reiterating their 50,000 target, that's a fairly good thing. They also did announce their actual earnings, which is going to be on May the 9th after business or after market close. I'm going to be live streaming that one as well, so make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. But outside of that, though, you do see a lot more big transactions that have been buying today. So 1.49 million, 3.12 million. So clearly big money is still continuing to buy, and you can also tell that based on the latest round of 13Fs as well. So the latest round is a lot of green ones, so that does insinuate brand new positions. So for instance, Baron Wealth did make a brand new position of 612,000, and right here it looks like a global lithium battery tech ETF did make a brand new position of 5.4 million shares. So behind the scenes, if you're one of those retail investors that likes to follow what big money is doing, they bought in Q4, and based on overall the last transactions, or at least couple transactions, they are continuing to buy. And of course, even after hours, for instance yesterday, there was a big transaction, 15.5 million. So definitely, if you're one of those people, big money is buying. But keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But when it comes down to it, just to give you a perspective on where things might be going from here. So currently it is green, like I said, but as far as some support and resistance points, you kind of have to look here. So 1464, it is between this S1 and the pivot. So 1527 is something that you really need to watch for it to potentially break out, and vice versa. If it is potentially going to be trending down, $13.30 is again the downside. So that's the support level. 1527 is the next big resistance, which based on what has happened over the last little bit, ever since they announced that, it did break past that. So it got to just shy of around the $16 mark. So it definitely has the good momentum behind the scenes to easily break above that. And I'll give you a good overview of one other thing, and that is shorts. Typically, like I've said, I don't see Rivian as a good squeeze. Just using this as a good benchmark is kind of ideal sometimes. So I'll give you guys a quick overview of what they are doing. So short score is currently 62, utilization is 31.49, so relatively small in that regard. But shorts are actually returning 226,000 shares, and that works out to be a grand total of about 76 million shares being shorted. So in that regard, it's kind of high. Cost to borrow average is absolutely pennies. There is a broker out there that's really incentivizing shorting with Rivian. So you do see one that's only charging 0.07%, so that's kind of low, but 12.62% of the free float's being shorted. And I think that the only reason why shorts are in Rivian is just based on their cash burn rate. And I think that's everyone's concern. But generally, based on, like I said, this news is fairly optimistic. So the more they pump out, the faster to profitability they will get to at least. So hopefully by that stage, that's where shorts will get out. But like I said, with cost to borrow so little, so cheap potentially, I don't see Rivian having a fairly good squeeze or anything. So of course, I'm just bringing this up as a benchmark, like I said, but let me know your thoughts on Rivian in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my Rivian content and want to support the channel, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. One final thing I just wanted to share with you, there is a good promo for April only with Moomoo, and all you have to do, click on the link in the description below or the comments, and you just sign up for a free account. You get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, so make sure you guys take advantage of that. And each account gives you free level 2 data, $0 commissions, and also if you open up a margin account per se, very low rates as well. And plus, if you want to throw $100 at the account, it gives you in total 5 free stocks. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. Link in the description below and also the comments. And without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Rivian.